Hello there kids, today we are going to talk about perpendicular and parallel lines. So, para hindi tayo malito, we'll start with perpendicular muna. Perpendicular, ayusin ko lang muna to. So, what is common between perpendicular and parallel lines? Basically, these are both are composed of two lines. And how these two lines are drawn are their difference, no? So, depende yan how the lines are drawn. So, for a perpendicular line, one thing that you should know is that they should form a right angle. Kailangan yan. You should basically know that for a perpendicular lines, they should form right angles. So which mean a perpendicular line should form something like this. And of course, they should meet. No, kailangan nagtatouch yan. It doesn't matter how they are drawn, in what position they are drawn, as long as they should form a right angled. Do you still remember yung past lesson natin? Right angles are is equivalent to 90 degrees. So if you notice yung tiny square that we can draw off, and if you notice that we have two right angles dito, we also have two here. Again, like what I've said, they can be drawn in any position. So pwedeng in this position, as long as they form a perpendicular or basically a right angle. Okay, eto na. Yan kasi yung right angle eh. Yung parang that looks like an L. Part of it looks like an L. So even though you might tell me, teacher Mark, but it looks like a T. Yes. Even something that looks like this is already considered perpendicular lines, no? Perpendicular yan sila. They are considered already as perpendicular as long as there is a formation of 90 degrees. So even though they are going to intersect, for example, that is already considered as a perpendicular line. Kasi kahit mag-intersect sila, basically they are forming 90 degrees and these are perpendicular. Now, how will you know if the lines are not perpendicular? So obviously, as long as they will not form this type of angle, yung right angle nga. So ibig sabihin, if it's slanted, this is not considered as perpendicular. If there is a line that looks like this, obviously, hindi iyan perpendicular. Okay? Kasi nga, ang what we need to look at is how it forms. Yan. It should look like technically an L. A perfect looking L with a 90-degree angle or a right angle. Without that, if you notice, it is not a right angle here. No formation of right angle. So, ibig sabihin, this is not a perpendicular line. Okay? So, ganun lang talaga ka-basic yan. To identify which is which. Okay. Now, symbol. Symbol for perpendicular is like this. It should look like that. Okay? So, kailan natin ginagamit yan? Okay, you might tell me, teacher Mark, but it's not perpendicular. Okay, there. So, symbol for perpendicular. If we have two lines, just to let you know, lines are basically formed between 2 points. For example, if we have points A and B over here, so combine nyo lang yung line na yan. That will be your point A and B, no? Nagkakaroon tayo ng, we can basically draw a line with 2 points, which is originally here is point A and point B. And this line now is called line AB. Okay? So, ganun lang yung basic naming of lines. We name our lines according to their points. So for example, ito nga, line AB. With points A and B, we can now call it as line AB. Now, what if there is another point? Let's say at this point, there is point C. Tanggalin ko muna to line AB, ha? I'll use yellow instead. May point C dyan. And there is a point D over here. So basically, we now have two lines. One is line AB. And the other one is line CD. By the way, this is the shortcut pala of writing the term line AB and line CD. So, ganun yung basically ang format of writing the shortcut of line of saying or stating that 2 points are already drawn as a line. Okay. So, if you notice, we have these two lines and these two lines form perpendicular lines, no? Nag-form sila ng perpendicular shape. So, we can now say that this line over here, yung line AB, is perpendicular to line CD. Again, the sentence formation of this is line AB is perpendicular to line CD. Okay. Line AB is perpendicular to line CD. Okay? Line AB is perpendicular to line CD. So, if you have a task, for example, draw any line perpendicular to line X, Y. And then sa figure nyo below is just a line X, Y. So your task is to draw any line perpendicular to line X, Y. So in other words, you can basically choose any points. It can be A, B, C, D, E, F. Depende na sa inyo. You can actually make use of the same line. I mean, same point if you want. Pero, for example, you want to make use of a different, of the same point. But make sure that you are going to draw the line there. For example, ganito. Let's say your line is ZX. Make sure that ZX will look like this. Do not draw a different X here. That will be wrong. Okay? But anyway, to avoid confusion muna, let me just remove this part. You can basically form, for example, gusto nyo ng point M. Again, you have your choice. No, depende sa given instruction. M, then draw a line here and choose your next letter. Depende na sa inyo. Hindi kailangan straight yan. It can be a J, it can be a G, I, H. Nasa inyo na. Okay. So basically now, you were able to draw line MN. And we can now say that this line XY is perpendicular to line MN. Okay. So identifying din, no? Now we need to identify. Identifying. Okay, so for example, meron tayong certain shape. Sorry about that. Hindi na siya nag-form ng... Okay. So, and then we are now going to have points over here. Medyo long discussion to, ha. This is, let's say, A, B, C, D, E, F. And your task here is to identify perpendicular lines, pair of perpendicular lines. Okay. Identify pair of perpendicular dinakasya lines. Okay. So, hanap tayo. Maghanap lang kayo. All you need to do is to find pairs that are connected and that forms the right angle. So, for example, in this case, you have this right angle over here. And this right angle is formed with using line AB and line BC. So, we can now say that line AB is perpendicular to line BC. Finding another one, we have line BC again. You can make use of the same pair as long as you will not make use of both in one, For example, nagamit na ang AB and BC. So, you will not be able to make use of BC and then AB again. What you can make use of is BC and make use of a different term here, which is ang CD. Kasi nga, if you can see, we have another formation here. Itong angle na to. So, therefore, we can write now, line BC is perpendicular to line CD. Okay? Ganun lang ka-basic yung identifying. Then, we'll have another one. So, ito naman gawin natin ngayon. We can, like what I've said, you can make use of the same line again. So, we have line CD and line DE that forms a right angle as well. So, we can now also say that line CD is perpendicular to line DE. Okay? So, ganun yung basically when you are tasked to identify pair of perpendicular lines. Okay, with a given figure. Marami pa yan. Meron pa dito. Meron pa dito. And there's another one here. All you need to do is to identify yung lines that are basically used to form this right angle. Okay? So, for example, ito. For this one, ano yung lines na ginamit dyan? Line DE and line FE. So, that's line D is perpendicular to line FE. Okay. So, depende yan. You might tell me, Teacher Mark, can we name this line FE as line EF? Yes. You can basically interchange. They basically mean the same. Okay? As long as they are composed of the same points, even if you're going to interchange their yung letters nila, they are still the same. So, in other words, line DE is just the same as line ED. Ganun lang po. Okay? Ganyan lang talaga yung basic. Magkaparehas lang yan. Okay? So, I hope that you were able to get the point of this already. So, I'm now going to proceed to the next pair, which is, in this case, is parallel. Parallel lines naman. Anong ibig sabihin ng parallel lines? These are basically lines that no matter how you're going to extend them, these two lines will never meet. So, basic lang yan, just like the perpendicular, no? Parallel lines can also be drawn in any position as long as making sure that these two lines will basically not meet even how long you're going to extend them even around the world. Okay, literal yan. Okay, hindi yun joke. So, which means these two pair of lines are perpendicular. Parallel, sorry. Are parallel. While these two lines are not parallel. You might ask me, Teacher Mark, why are these two not parallel? Hindi naman sila nagmi-meet eh. Correct. Hindi sila nagbi-meet. But if you're going to extend this line all the way here, if you notice, they will cross path. No? Magka-cross yung paths nila. So, which means that this is not considered as a parallel pair of lines. Okay? So, hindi pwede makonsider yan. So, if you have another, then again, this pair of lines are not considered parallel again. Why? Because if you're going to extend lines, at some point, they are going to intersect. Point of intersection natin. So, hindi pwede. This cannot not be considered. Unlike yung mga parallel lines natin, for example, ito, even if you're going to extend them at some point, they are not going to intersect. Okay? In basic terms nga yan, even if you're going to extend them all around Earth, hindi talaga sila mag-meet. Okay? So, that's what you mean by parallel lines. Now, if perpendicular lines have their symbol, meron din naman tayong symbol for parallel lines. No? Symbol. Again, we need to name our lines. So, for example, we have parallel lines dito. We have AB and we have CD. We can now say, since they are parallel, we can now say that line AB is parallel to line CD. Ngayon, yung symbol ng parallel is ganyan lang. That's it. Just that. Yan lang. So, ibig sabihin, to write this in symbol form, line AB is parallel to line CD. So, don't get confused. Ang parallel looks like this. And yung perpendicular naman, basically looks like, saan yung kanina? This one. Okay? So, yun yung difference natin. For perpendicular, we have this symbol. And for parallel, you have this symbol. Now, Teacher Mark, I might get confused between perpendicular and parallel. So, wag kayo malito kasi nandyan yung clue sa parallel itself, the word itself. We have a double L that looks like two lines that form parallel. No? Para silang parallel lines. So, yan yung clue ninyo. Your clue with a smiley face. Okay. So, ganun lang kadali. Identifying perpendicular and parallel. So, ibig sabihin, if you have a task to draw, for example, draw a line or draw line XY parallel to line AB. So, in other words, let's say sa book ninyo, you already have a line there given. That is line AB. So, all you have to do now is to draw a line XY. So, if you notice, you are tasked and given points X and Y. So, kailangan nyo mag-draw lang ng line that will form parallel line to line AB. So, paano nyo ito-draw? Are you going to draw it this way? No. Wrong. Kasi, bakit yun wrong? Basically, because it's perpendicular. Hindi siya parallel. Diba? Parallel nga, kailangan mag-meet sila. So, am I going to draw it this way, Teacher Mark? No. Yes, it is a straight line, but the problem is, this line, if you're going to extend it, will cross paths with line AB. So, hindi pwede yun. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, you should draw a line. Make sure that it is parallel to line AB. And you can now name this as line X, Y. Okay? So, that's the difference between the two parallel lines and perpendicular lines.